Sean, hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear
Hey,
me?
yeah, coming through loud and clear. Thank you.
Sweet.
Thanks for your time today, man.
Try something here. I'm in my car.
Yeah, sure.
I want to make sure. Okay, cool. Alright. Yo, how are you?
I'm good, man. How's things?
Things are good. I
Awesome.
feel familiar. Have we talked before?
No, this is actually my first time interviewing, well, yourself and basically anyone for Soundsphere who have called me in today for this one.
Got you. I feel like Soundsphere is familiar to me for some reason, but I couldn't place it. Like I couldn't actually pinpoint if I've ever spoken to them before.
Cool. Oh, you may well have done. I mean, yeah, Soundsphere's been around a while and obviously covers an awful lot of stuff. So yeah, you may well have done.
My car's snitching.
Oh.
Okay. So, how are you? What do you want to talk about?
I'm good. Well, yeah. I'm thinking. Let's.
I've already said everything. I've said everything and anything that could be said.
Cool. Well, you said anything and everything. Let's talk about the record, man. I'm really. First off, I'm loving everything I've heard. I've heard side A. I've heard side B. I've heard side C. I'm waiting on side D because I'm excited.
Oh, they didn't send you side D yet?
I've not heard it. I mean, I've been streaming it via YouTube. Everything I've got so far, but yeah, I'm excited because I'm loving what I'm hearing. And the clocked video, I was wondering if we could talk about that today as well.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So what was your experience of that? What was the kind of idea behind the video?
The idea came from a guy named Andrew Melby, but we all call him Melby.
Cool.
He's in the past. He's done a few videos for us. He did a video. I think the first time he ever did a video with us was a camera thief. I think, actually maybe he did one before that. I'm kind of lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
He's been working with us for a long time, and also just working closely with Rhymesayers.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, he toured with us once. We did we brought a camera crew with us back in 2011.
Oh, that's awesome.
Europe, and he filmed a tour that we did.
That was the Rhymesayers tour with a few guys from the roster?
Yeah, with Evidence and us and Brother Ali and Greaves,
awesome.
And there was somebody else. Why am I forgetting? Well, let me think.
Well, I'll be checking that out. If I can find that online, I'll be having a look.
Blueprint also.
Cool.
And so anyway, we've been working with that dude for a long time, and he heard the song and had an idea for it of that kind of was like the premise behind it, like the Easter egg behind it was about aging.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to set it in the location as a car wash, and he wanted me to kind of be I don't know what the word he used was, but he was looking for something that just seemed like disassociated.
It is. It seems kind of your role in the video is somewhat esoteric. Like you don't quite get everything that's going on. You're keeping some big secret, and it's cool. It's interesting. It really draws you in because even with what I like about it is as he's going through the car wash, and it's cutting back to you. It's like it's a minimal narrative, but you're constantly like, where is this going? What is this big secret you're holding on to? And but yeah, that like you mentioned the kind of Easter egg of like age and the whole theme of time seems like obviously a huge thing across what I've heard so far. Do you want to elaborate on that and like? Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Your thoughts on that?
every time we make a project, there is some sort of underlying theme to it.
Yeah.
And this time around, the underlying theme is not as obvious, and so you calling out time as being something that kind of quietly runs through the whole album is definitely there, but I think we were just a little less concerned with having some sort of grand narrative, and we were more just trying to have a good time. You know what I mean?
Fantastic. That does come across on this material for sure. Like even with the features, you all sound like you are just having a great time, really putting out like your heart and soul into this stuff.
Right. It was a lot of fun. The thing I liked about the video that Melody made was kind of like the Camera Thief video. There is a narrative there, but it's kind of open for interpretation.
Yeah.
We don't make it super obvious,
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, man. Aging and death and time seems like a long-term narrative that runs through a lot of my writing, and I don't know why. It just kind of works out that way.
Sure. I mean, you're a storyteller, man, and those are good themes for storytelling, It's something relatable. Everyone can, whether they pick up on it consciously or not, there's going to be, it's something we all think about from time to time. So it's, I think it's a good thing to, you can take it in multiple directions, can't you, Literally starting with that line, once upon a time there was a young boy. It's classic storytelling. It draws you in immediately, and it's cool.
I wonder if someday my kids are gonna ask me, Dad, why were you so obsessed with death?
Yeah.
But yeah, for now, just keep rolling, keep riding. Keep rolling till the wheels fall off.
Well, so something I really want to ask you. At one point, you were saying, I did pick up on a line. What was it? Hope the kids get the time to tell a brand new story. As obviously an artist that's been so influential, you got such an extensive catalogue. Or the Ramsayers collective as such are all massively influential now. Was that something that you're conscious of with putting out this record too? Is do you think about the fact that obviously you've been a successful artist for so long now? Does that come into play when you're putting out a new record? Or I guess you've kind of said earlier you're not thinking about that. You're just having fun with this.
Well, yeah, with this one specifically, this was definitely a lot. We had a lot less pressure because nobody expected us to turn in another record so soon, and so
yeah.
I've had times where the label's looking at me like, hey, it's your turn. Are you going to give us something? Whereas this time they were not looking at me, and I suddenly just gave them something, and they were just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's all on your terms now.
I kind of feel like I've outgrown some of the pitfalls that artists fall into. Artists that create art for a living end up under certain types of pressures, and I used to feel those pressures as well, but I kind of have outgrown them just because I'm not as dependent on selling this art as I used to.
Yeah, that's really great.
I used to depend on selling it, and now that I don't depend on people to buy my album. It frees you up and allows you to just kind of really, make art without apology, and make art without worrying, without wondering if anybody's gonna like it. I still wonder if people are gonna like it, but not to the extent of driving myself crazy.
Yeah.
The real pressure now is trying to figure out how to crack the code and write the perfect song. And
yeah, but that creative freedom, I suppose, is helping with that.
I mean, it is, but the irony is that the listener doesn't care about the perfect song.
Sure.
I've learned that, the listener just wants to feel connected and to feel what they felt from you when they first discovered you. And so they're constantly looking for something, a spark, kind of like, it's like love. the first couple of times you fall in love is like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And then as you get older, you don't necessarily look for that roller coaster anymore. Now you're looking for somebody that fits you, and somebody that like supplements or completes you or what have you. You know what I mean? Whereas when you're younger, you're looking. But then I think in the back of your mind, you're always looking at your partner like, does this person excite me how they used to excite me? But it's like,
and are they supposed to? Is that really the way that it's supposed to go? And I suppose looking back to like the catalog, like an extensive career now, it's looking back and going like, okay, does my material excite me the way that it used to? Is that a drive when like putting out something new as well? You want something like timeless, and a lot of your work obviously is, a friend of mine, you were his gateway into hip hop. It was trying to make a balance. He absolutely loves all the Rhymesayers stuff, but it was after hearing you first.
I think that as I've gotten older, the drive now comes from trying to crack the code, trying to solve puzzles, trying to put together words in ways that make me feel like I accomplished something different or new, or sometimes we even like set up challenges and exercises before we start, just so that we have something to try to successfully accomplish, and it's like,
you have your goals, you have,
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an example on this particular project. I guess there's a song on side D called Next.
Oh, cool.
There's two songs on side D. One that's called Scalp. Is that what it's called? No, Skull.
Right.
One that's called Skull, and one that's called Next. And both of those started off as exercises, and it's like, but they evolved into actual songs, because as you're trying to accomplish the exercise or trying to create the puzzle, if you do it, if you nail it, then now it's a song.
Yeah, for sure.
And I guess that's kind of the main motivation for me nowadays, is that I want to make something. When you say that, does it excite me? It's like, in order to excite myself, and again, let's compare it to sex.
Yeah.
Somebody who's been over-sexed, or has had too much sex, or has they could become, I guess, a little bit desensitized.
Sure, right? It happens.
So when you write enough songs, you start to become desensitized to certain parts of your relationship to the song, or to the practice of writing songs, and so you have to come up with new positions.
Sure, yeah. Get out of your comfort zone, right? and challenge yourself, like you say.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, you remind me of. I see this. I recently rewatched. What's that movie with the guy? He's called The Dude. That's
The Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski, yeah. The scene where he meets that pornographer, and the guy is saying, like, the world it sees that industry as like something of a joke, like they're just making smut, But it's like he's telling him, look, it all, like, the mind is the most erogenous zone. Like the mind needs the thrill when. Like a guy can easily, as you say, be oversexed and just lose interest in it, but it all starts in the mind first. It's because they've forgotten that, And it's like, I guess with music, when you're going down one avenue for so long, it's sometimes like going back to the roots is the best thing, And I mean, when I hear this record, particularly the beats from Anne. I mean, it's classic hip hop, that's old school. But then the narratives aren't necessarily. I like that intertwining thing. That's keeping it exciting for me, and I also wanted to ask.
I'm excited for you to hear side D.
Yeah, I'm hyped. I'm really hyped.
I like the way that the label is releasing this album because
drip feeding. It is drip feeding.
And also, oftentimes, people will lead with the your first single and your second single will tend to be whatever the best two songs on the album are.
Sure.
And with this, or more so, maybe the most accessible songs, And with the way that they chose to do this, it didn't leave room for that. It was like, okay, we're just going to release side A, so which one should be a video? And when we looked at it like that, it was no longer about what song has the most potential to be the biggest song, but more so, what song would be the most interesting one to release first?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Maybe
so it's interesting.
And what's most representative of like you're putting out a whole side of the record at once. So if you're doing the visual for one, which one's going to represent the kind of feel of this whole side? Might not necessarily, as you say, be the most accessible one, but what does that matter when the important thing is the art?
Yeah.
I like that approach. Yeah, it's really cool. It's different.
It's been really interesting. I don't know if it helps them sell the record or not. You know what I mean? But also, again, I kind of have distanced myself from that as being my objective.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I still want to sell records, or more so, I still want people to hear the music, but to be able to approach it from something that just feels a little bit more clouded in art, it just allows me to feel a little bit more connected to the full process.
Sure.
Because there are times where, in the past when a record has come out and I haven't been as connected to the process because the process is very strategic. And
we need the hit single first and then...
man. And I've just never been very good at strategy. It's not really my thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm more into like the feeling.
Yeah, and the art and the storytelling and yeah.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I completely. I can kind of see that as the consumer. Like I'm hearing this and I'm like, this stuff is timeless. You're not looking for necessarily putting out the catchy earworm first. You're drip feeding these four sides of the record, and because it seems timeless, I mean, like you say, you don't concern yourself with sales, but if you put out something timeless, it's gonna sell long term. It's like it might not just shift all the units straight away and then fall off the edge of a cliff. It's like if the record is good, which it sure as hell is, it's going to stand the test of time. It might sell units over the course of years,
I feel like if we would have approached this with the more traditional way of releasing music, they would have led with the song that has A$AP Rock and MF Doom.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Because those are two very strong, I guess those are focus points. You got A$AP Rock and MF Doom on a song together. That's kind of the thing, especially rest in peace
with Doom, man. Yeah.
It's like
sure.
Yeah. And so I also appreciate how it's like, man, that song, which typically would have been the lead single, is now likely the last song that a fan gets to hear.
Yeah. And this is it. I'm itching to hear it from reading the press release and knowing that's on the record on side D. I'm like, geez, I can't wait for that to drop, man. But I mean, I've been loving all the material in the meantime, and it's just like it's got me so hyped for everything. It's what's beautiful is, like you say, the focal point hasn't been on just the like you say, what could easily well be the focal point of the big names, and it's about creating something bigger than that, like a whole record of classic material, and that's what it is. I think that's fantastic. I was going to ask about, earlier you were saying about sometimes writing a great song, it comes from setting yourself a challenge. I like this idea of you almost gave yourself challenges, and when you accomplished that, you knew you had a song. One line I picked up on as well, I'm trying to think of which track it was now, but you were saying, and all your favorite rappers are not Illuminati. You know, it's like you've got to work hard for success. Did you want that to be one of the sort of messages this time around? Because you've always worked hard for what you've achieved. It's like when people think, oh yeah, all these big names, they're just Illuminati, they did this deal with the devil or whatever, and suddenly they got all these riches. It's like, that must be frustrating, you know?
Well, it's always been, I don't know who to credit the evil to, but at some point, some power structure figured out how to keep the rest of us fighting each other.
Sure.
And so,
yeah.
The crabs in a barrel mentality suggests that when one crab gets out of the barrel, all the other crabs are trying to pull that crab back in, or come up with excuses why that crab succeeded, instead of looking at the hard work, And it's an unfortunate. It's an unfortunate protocol.
It sure is. It sure is, because and not
only that, but it also, and this is also probably to the credit of whoever did create this evil system. It eliminates a lot of the confidence that you might have in succeeding yourself if you feel like the only way I can succeed is if I make a deal with the devil.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
so
for sure, man.
And I'm not going to make a deal with the devil, so therefore it's likely that I'm never going to succeed. And so
that's it. It's kind of this double-edged sword. It kills two birds with one stone. That may not have even been by design,
That is the devil. The devil, that's the trick. The devil tricked us into thinking we can't succeed unless we have the devil's, help. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
I know what you're saying.
And I do believe that was by design. I believe that maybe, one of the churches originally designed it, or that some power structure. You know what I'm saying? Like, but living here in the U.S. It's real obvious. You can see it in everything.
Yeah, well, even here, man, over in the UK, it's like, I was going to say, we see this power structure we see it in politics, just as you do. We see it in the workplace, Thankfully, I don't. I work in the music industry, and I love it. I'm surrounded by cool people. I'm sure you are yourself. But sometimes you got to fight to be in that position, haven't you, where you're not in this power struggle. You got to be careful to surround yourself with people that see through the bullshit too. I think when you get people who think like yourself, and you surround yourself with those people, that's when something like this happens. Something like this record, where it's suddenly, it's freeing, because it's not about fighting that power structure anymore. It's just about making great art, which is something that, this power structure, it can blind even the best of us at times, make us lose sight, even if we're thinking, well, we don't necessarily want to go along with their narrative and their way of doing things, but it can distract you from how maybe you could be achieving what you want to do. As you were saying, sometimes it can just it can have that knock-on effect of whether it's just to your confidence, like maybe you feel like there is no other way. But it's beautiful when sometimes you can just put that in a tiny little box and tell yourself it is this tiny little box, and I don't have to worry about it. I'm a great artist, I'm a great storyteller, and I'm going to make this album. And then something like this happens, and it's timeless, man.
Well, I appreciate the kind words.
Well, it's I think as an artist, I relate to it myself as well. I think this record a lot of artists will relate to, not just as, a lot of consumers, a lot of hip hop fans are going to hear it and love it because it's classic art, but then it might be a different kind of inspirational to an artist who's maybe felt that same way you did, that the power structure almost presents this one path for you, but it's like, no, you can go your own way, Oh, my notes have sorry, I had some notes in there. Oh, here we go, I've brought them up now. So I think we got about 10 minutes left on this interview. I don't want to take up any more of your time, but
no worries.
yeah. What's next in terms of visuals? Have you got a video planned for something off of side C?
Side C, the video is for the song Pressed, and it dropped already. It dropped
cool.
about a week ago.
Oh, awesome. I'm going to have to catch up on that, yeah. And then side D as well?
Side D will have a video as well.
Yeah, and that's already shot, I imagine.
The side D video is currently being completed as we speak.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, and again, have you gone with this? What was the dude who did Clocked?
Clocked was Andrew Melby.
Yeah, is he involved in these?
The first video was a woman named Roxanne Baldwin. I'm sorry, Roxana I always say her last name wrong. But Roxana did the first video, and she murdered it.
Wow.
And then I want to make sure I shout her out correctly, though. And Roxana Baldwin.
Cool.
And she did Woes, and then the second video was Anthony Melby. The third video, which is Pressed, is Jason Goldwatch. He's the same person that made the Virgo video, and also
cool.
the graffiti video, and he also made the film for The Day Before Halloween. And then he made those for us. And then the last video is still, I can't reveal who's making it yet, but it's none of the last three. It wasn't Roxana, it wasn't Jason, it wasn't Melby. It's actually a creator that I've never worked with before. So I'm
something
kind of
new.
excited about that.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to see it too, and also the Pressed video, I didn't realize that had dropped already, so I'm going to be all over that. So you mentioned graffiti back there as well. I mean, just as a little side note, I was wondering, so we've got Grandmaster Flash coming to town pretty soon. I'm like dead hyped to see him. Part of his tour this time round is he's focusing on the four elements of hip hop. Obviously, graffiti being a big major part of that, and with Atmosphere, you guys, you've got two of the major elements covered. You've got the rap and you've got the DJ, and on the production. How important is hip hop and the dancing, like the street dancing to you? Like, is that something that obviously it's pretty old school now, but is it something you think about? And are the four elements, have they been an important part of you as a creative?
Well, the four elements, all four of them are definitely a huge part of my foundation and my entrance into this. I'm from a city called Minneapolis, which is pretty far away from New York, pretty far away from Los Angeles. Yeah. And so when I was a kid, via media and books and magazines, I consumed as much as I could. So I tried to be a breakdancer, and actually that was my first entrance into trying to participate. Cool. Instead of just being a fan of the culture, I wanted to participate in the culture. And awesome. So I tried to be a breakdancer, when I was a kid. And then from there, I started collecting records and trying to teach myself how to scratch. And I've always been a participant in visual arts. I draw, paint, and so I got involved in graffiti.
Awesome,
and truthfully, rapping was my last activity.
That's interesting. That's really interesting that it kind of goes full circle. You tried your hand at everything else first, and then, found success as a rapper.
Yeah, rapping stuck. It's funny though. The first group I was in, I was a DJ.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
What was that? What was the group?
We don't need to go there.
Sure thing. Better left untouched there.
It's probably on Wikipedia.
Yeah, cool.
Nonetheless, I was a DJ, and then the MC in the group was a guy named Spawn.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he was pushing me. Even the first incarnation of Atmosphere, I was the DJ in the group.
Oh,
Spawn was the one that was pushing me to rap too.
Yeah.
Because he knew that I could, but my heart was actually in being a DJ, because as a kid, I looked at it and the DJ was the cool guy.
Yeah, sure.
Always.
Sure.
The DJ was the guy on the radio that you wanted to call and give him your request, and the DJ was the guy that was like the celebrity at parties. You know what I mean? Like rap. When I was young, rap still didn't have the celebrity status that DJs had, especially locally. And so, yeah, man, my heart was set on being a DJ. I knew I was going to be, Jazzy Jeff. And it just didn't happen. It didn't happen. I ended up becoming Fresh Prince instead.
I've got to tell you, man, I loved the reunion they did. It was it about last year or something? And it was the first time they'd made music together in 20 years. But, God, you'd think they'd been doing it all this time. I think they're a super underrated duo. Despite being successful, I don't think they quite get the credit they get as being influential,
Well, I think Jazzy Jeff actually gets a lot of credit from his branch of the culture.
Yeah.
Like all DJs they always put him up high. He gets his flowers.
Yeah.
But Fresh Prince doesn't. And I feel that's kind of unfortunate, because he really is one of the most influential MCs
completely.
From the old school. You know what I'm
completely.
saying? I wouldn't say from the old school, but from that original new school. Because his
it sure was like a new school, because you could see how he took influence. Like he has a particular flow as well. That's like I always thought he was kind of like Slick Rick, but then with like his own twist, And I'm like that guy. Yeah, we like you say, maybe not getting the credit as an MC, as a rapper. It's like, I don't know, with obviously his movie career or his acting career, it's like the hip-hop thing's like a little side note, when, God, he's just as good a rapper as an actor,
Yeah.
But,
he quite honestly, next to maybe Eminem,
sure,
Fresh Prince might be the person that introduced, as far as like taking rap and spreading it into households.
Yeah.
Him and Eminem are probably the two largest super spreaders of rap music ever. You know what I'm saying? It's like, Hammer had some big hits, and Vanilla Ice had a big hit, and you have a couple of artists who, they sold multi-millions, but actually making kids and families accept this culture into their households, Fresh Prince might even be above Eminem.
Yeah.
Just in the sense that, Eminem was a counterculture thing, so kids were into him because it made them feel edgy.
Yeah.
Fresh Prince was kind of like, yo, you can enjoy this shit with your mom.
Completely, Like, and I did. Who didn't? Growing up as a kid, even here in the UK, watching Fresh Prince was like, that theme tune might be like the earliest sort of hip hop tune I heard. No kidding, and it was because it's on mainstream TV at prime time, and that's like what an achievement, It was maybe doesn't get the. In retrospect, I think a lot of people might be looking back now and going, "Hey, that was an important time in hip hop history," and in rap culture.
Oh, it was huge.
Yeah,
it was huge, and I don't know if you remember, but even what's the word? The branding or the logo of the show was graffiti.
Yeah, all graffiti themed. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and he would, on that show, he danced, he beatboxed.
Yeah.
represented hip hop like real.
Yeah, in a very true form.
Street culture.
Yeah.
In a very true form. You know, he acted funny and corny so that it was palpable for suburban audiences.
Yeah.
But he still stayed true to what one part of the street looked like. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't
of course.
necessarily the violent side or the struggle side of the street, but once in a while there would even be episodes that did deal with that. And
of course, there were some moments that really hit you. You know, there was the one he took a bullet for his brother in an episode. Man, I mean, there was some hard hitting times. Yeah, and what was cool was you grew with those guys. You know, that was what was cool about that show. But I mean. Coming back to these releases, I kind of feel like, as I say, Ant has nailed this the classic hip hop side of the production, the sound, and I think is that like So you say you might not consciously be doing it, but I mean, to me, that's like you guys staying true to the kind of artist side of hip hop, you know. There's obviously, because hip hop culture is so much more than just the music now. But I feel like this is a pure form of hip hop that I'm hearing on this record, and is it important to you now to be sort of recognized as hip hop per se? Or is it like you just want to be putting out great art, great music, full stop, despite the label? Like,
you know, when I was back in the day, when I was a little more insecure in my own skin, I definitely wanted to be recognized as an advocate and a participant, and I wanted people to see what I was intending. I wanted people to see my intention.
Mm-hmm.
Now I kind of reached a space where it's like, you know, I know you don't really actually have control over how people interpret what you do, so I'm not gonna worry too much about it and just do what I like to do. You know, I think the real intention of this album, aside from having fun, was to not sound like the last album, which the last album's intention was to not sound like the album before that.
Yeah,
and
keep it fresh.
You know, because we get comfortable. You know, me and Anthony, we've gotten comfortable in what we do, and so it's like there's a couple of albums there that kind of fit together back in the day. You know, I would say Southsiders, Fishing Blues, and Me Vita Local specifically, where we were really enjoying what we were doing, but also we were doing it so, I don't want to say so well, because I'm not going to like gas myself up. We were so in our zone, we were so in our lane that you couldn't find the discomfort. And so
you had a formula that was working, so you wrote that and you put out this great material that's in a certain vein, because you are well within your comfort zone. But why not roll with that for a while?
And then I would say when we made the Whenever album and the Halloween album, that was when we were trying to find discomfort. We were trying to force ourselves into spaces, and that was the exercise.
Cool.
You know what I'm saying? We were, and I don't think we knew we were doing it, but now in hindsight, I see, we were reacting to the prior albums, and now I see this album as a reaction to the Halloween album.
Cool.
And then the one I'm working on right now, I see as a reaction to the Word album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And now I realize, okay, I am becoming more in touch with who I am as an artist and seeing how it is, you know, what motivates me, what fuels me, what kind of, you know, what is my ritual when making art, you know, stuff like that. And I'm working within those spaces to go, okay, what can I do to challenge myself? You know what I mean?
Of course, and that's awesome, because that actually leads me to my next question, which is what I was going to wrap up with. I'm wondering, so you mentioned you're already working on the next record. I imagine, listening to your music, that you must be writing all the time. So yeah, do you want to elaborate on that? That was my question. Is are you always writing, and what do you have in mind next?
The stuff that I'm writing right now, I've been writing for probably almost a year now.
Yeah.
Because it was about a year ago that we started mixing the Word album.
Cool.
And so what I'm working on now are the ideas that you start as ideas. You start jotting down your ideas and your thoughts, and so I would say we're almost at a year. And so this is probably the one that is the reaction to the times. The Word album was more of a reaction to just trying to kind of distract ourselves from COVID and lockdown and just
cool.
The murder of George Floyd and all the shit that was going on.
Man. What a crazy year.
So much sadness and so much trauma that I think we made the Word album as a way to try to distract ourselves and inject a little bit of fun into our year.
I feel like there is an underlying positivity across the record, even though it might not be apparent on the surface. I mean, it is fun on the surface because there's a nice mix, a nice variety of stuff. But I feel like upon second and third listen, I started realizing there's an underlying optimism to this. It was I guess that was part of the process.
The one we're working on now kind of it's a more of I think that you can see. I mean, for what it's worth, you can hear the depression that we might be experiencing. You could hear the worries and the concerns. You can hear more of the trauma.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I still want the message to be, hey, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, for sure.
You just gotta power through it. It's gonna be okay. I want that to be the ultimate message to this next project. It's weird that we're speaking about this already. Who knows when this album will come out? You know what I mean?
And how it'll turn out, I suppose. Yeah.
But I would say the stuff that I've been writing as of late it's still trying to push that memo that it's going to be okay. You just have to believe you have to trust the process. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure.
But it does. I am unpacking a lot of the last 2 years in this one.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess it's cool because, like I said, with the Word record, you're certainly staying true to yourself, but in obviously you're going to be doing that on every record. But what I mean is, as you were saying, with the campaign, you're not necessarily putting out the earworm first, the big radio hit. You're going with what's representative of the entire body of work. So yeah, I guess moving on to the next record with that particular mindset too, that keeps it with that message of positivity. I guess there's would you say there's that message of not only is it going to be okay, but it's okay to be yourself and to just do this your own way?
I would say that's relatively on the mark. I also think there's an element of realism too, though, that to not to belittle the concept of reality, because everybody has their own version of reality. In fact, there are so many realities going on simultaneously, But here's the thing, man. We all know that you're supposed to wake up and see today as a blessing and a gift because you made it.
Yeah.
That's incredibly difficult because life is hard and life is a struggle, and the struggle never ends. Even people who are rich are struggling.
Oh,
and
for
the
sure.
people who are in poverty obviously are struggling massively, you know what I'm saying? And yet we still try to walk this line and tell people that every day is a blessing and live for the moment and all this shit. And it's like, is that real?
Yeah.
Is that really real? You know what I mean? We try, we want to, but man, it is hard. It is difficult to see the day as a blessing when, you know, when you feel like you want to fucking die. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
I guess, we got to kind of go through life staying optimistic and doing whatever we can to get through, but we can't also allow ourselves to be blind to when there is negativity in the world, and we can't just be completely ignorant of what is going on around us and all over the world, you know, in our day-to-day life.
You have to honor your ability to see how fucked up shit is. You know what I'm saying? You have to honor that. And so how do you balance that? And that is kind of technically, that's probably what the narrative of the next album is going to look like. How do you figure out how to treat life like a blessing when it feels like a curse? You know.
I hear what you're saying. I'm excited already. I think. This was down for 35 minutes. I'm completely aware that we're well over. Am I infringing on your time now?
I'm okay. I got a few more minutes before I gotta go and drop this lunch off to the school.
Bless, man.
I'm driving my kid's lunch to his school while I talk to you. That's why I'm in the car. Because I was like, well, I gotta get him his food, but I can do this. I can talk in the car.
Cool.
And I got you on the speaker, so I don't have to have my hands on a phone or nothing. I appreciate that. I like technology.
Yeah, it's certainly making this a whole lot easier than me flying out there. Cool. So, I was thinking, do you want to finish with just a little more on side D? Like, what have people? Because obviously, like nothing has dropped publicly yet. Do you want to let people know what they can look forward to with that?
Side D it's got a song called Skull, which might be my favorite song on the project.
Oh, awesome.
And that's a narrative, it's a story. And it's got another song called Next, which is ultimately what began as an exercise and became a song. And it's got the big song, the song with Doom and A$AP Rock. And I don't know what else to say about it other than I do think that it stays true to everything that we were attempting to do. In fact, inside it, I feel, I don't feel like we really strayed from the plan anywhere. So you can hear the smile on my face when I'm rapping on these songs. And I think that was really what I wanted. I wanted people to hear it, regardless of what I was saying. I wanted, even on a song like Clock, which is a little bit more melancholy, I still wanted you to be able to hear the smile on my face. Whether or not you think it's a sarcastic smile, I don't care. But as long as you can close your eyes and see that I'm smiling when I'm saying these words.
For sure. I think I felt that, like I say, with this underlying optimism across the whole record. Like it might maybe wasn't as immediately apparent on the first listen, but the more I listened, I did pick up on that.
I pushed myself to actually smile while recording.
Right, yeah.
Because it makes your words a little different. It puts a little bit of a inflection on your words that I think, if I could be wrong, but I think people accidentally hear it and pick up on it, and it's like a subliminal. It's like a note.
Yeah.
It's like a silent note that people don't know you're hitting, but it does affect them.
Too right. I mean, they say a smile's contagious. Maybe that can work over a record, man. It's like magic, I swear. Sometimes you start your day with a smile on your face, like maybe for no particular reason, but you just tell yourself, going about your day, well, keep smiling, and suddenly you notice people are smiling back,
I like that.
Cool. That seems like a nice place to wrap this up. It's been an absolute pleasure, man.
Hey, you're the man. I appreciate the time you took to talk to me and let me push my content to your listeners.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to plenty more as well. Cool.
Have an outstanding day, man. Or actually, it's nighttime for you. You're about to go to dinner, so have a good dinner.
Hey, thank you, man. Yeah, and I hope you have a safe journey getting this lunch dropped off to your kid, and a beautiful day and a beautiful life.
Thank you, brother. You too, man.
Peace, brother. Thank you.
All right, peace out.